Okay, the 5 things I learned at New York Tech Week. The first is that America thinks on a completely different scale. Coming from Australia, that hits you very quickly. Australia is an incredible place to build and test and refine a proven signal, but the US market really changes that sense of the opportunity. The scale is just so different. The ambition is different. The speed of the conversations is different. Australian founder event in New York, someone made this point that Australia is roughly the size of Pennsylvania from a market perspective, and that's kind of just stayed with me all this week. Because if you build only for Australia, you can build something good, but if you want to build something that's category defining, you eventually need to test whether the idea can survive on a much bigger field. And that is what this week has felt like for Auric. Not just can it work, but how big could this become if we were brave enough to say it properly. Now, the second thing I learned is that physical AI is back in the investor conversation. For years, it's just software was the cleanest venture story, but fast to build, fast to distribute, fast to scale. But the conversation felt much broader. Hardware, connected devices, robots, smart spaces, infrastructure, and real-world data loops are all back in the room. And that matters because the next wave of AI will not only live inside browsers and chat windows, it'll move into devices and rooms and workspaces and homes and hospitals and all sorts of different environments. And that's where Auric really sits. Connected hardware, smart consumables, adaptive data, a product that can touch, smell, experience, and return to. Now, third lesson is that storytelling is not decorative here. It's just part of the execution. Americans are just extraordinary storytellers. They dream out loud. They make the future feel like it's cinematic before it fully exists. Sometimes from an Australian's lens, that can feel like a lot, but sometimes there may even be less substance behind the story than you would expect, but there is just so much courage to swing hard, and that's the lesson. In Australia, we often kind of underestimate that. We explain carefully. We wait until we feel fully entitled to make that big claim. But in the USA, understatement can make the opportunity seem so much smaller than what it is. The job is not to exaggerate, of course. The job is to tell the truth at the scale of the opportunity. Okay, fourth lesson is that networking here is not an afterthought. It's part of the operating system. Coffee chats are real, no doubt about that. The introductions matter. The follow-on matters probably much more. But you have to earn that right to the next conversation. Now, you just cannot just collect names and expect some form of momentum. You need to show up. Be prepared. Now, you need to know the person that really matters. You need to make that conversation really, really useful. Now, follow up quickly, of course. That has to be one of the biggest differences of this week. In Australia, investors can sometimes give you limited feedback. They're more quiet. Here, people often tell you very quickly what they think. That could be confronting, but it's also extremely useful. Fast feedback sharpens the company. The fifth lesson is that the more AI scales, the more human experience really does matter. The best moments this week were not the panels or the pitch decks. There were the conversations after the events. That 5-minute demo. I mean, with the Aromosphere here, the questions from the investors, the moment someone sees that the Auric Aromosphere understands what we're building and the category suddenly just becomes really real. That is the paradox of AI this week. Everyone's talking about intelligence, but the thing that still moves people is experience. Conversation, reaction, physical products, pretty cool. What's in the box, Adam? A space that feels different. For Auric, that is the signal. We're building scent intelligence. AI-powered scent rituals delivered through connected hardware, smart oils, and adaptive data. And because the built world became smart, and now it's becoming emotional. Thank you for listening to the stories. Bye.